Hidden in the mountains of a large Italian city hides a gem from the past. A gem which gives you a unique peek in the history of the Italian ultra-rich of the 1800s. In this episode we will reveal the hidden past of a villa which has been forgotten in time. Our adventure begins in the 7 hectares large former garden. The garden doesn't really resemble a garden anymore, as you might have noticed. This is due to the fact that the last time the garden was taken care of was all the way back in the early 1980s. So we had to basically walk through a thick forest to the center of the estate. There was one problem though.
Oh, spinnetje. Oh, daar gaat hij. Toch?
Alright, with the just acquired stick to fight off the spiders, we slowly got closer to our objective. After a couple of minutes, we finally encountered the Grand Villa. The villa we are exploring today dates back to the early 1600s. Throughout the years it has been modified extensively to fit the new trends of other centuries. So let's try to enter this history-filled grand villa. When we stood in front of the facade we could already see the ornate details on the structure. This, combined with the heavy overgrowth, made it truly feel like you were discovering some kind of ancient temple, deep inside the jungle. While we are entering, let me tell you a bit about the architecture of this place. The architecture is really unique. This is due to the fact that this kind of style was the Italian version of Art Nouveau, which was incredibly popular at the start of the 1900s. Art Nouveau can be seen as a precursor of the well-known Art Deco style. To the left of the villa a small corridor could be found. This corridor was the former entrance to the large garden. Although the windows are long gone, the atmosphere still remains in this beautiful little corridor. Looking from the outside, you could also see that the corridor was also used as a bridge to get on top of the raised garden. The history of this villa starts in the 1600s, when an ambassador decides to build a large villa on top of the mountains of a large city. After the death of the ambassador, the estate changed owners a few times. The story of this villa truly becomes interesting in the middle of the 1800s. At this time the villa was acquired by a wealthy British diplomat and businessman who fell in love with the country of Italy. His business contained of transporting goods from the Italian port of Genoa to the US city of New Orleans. During this time the British owner completely refurbished the aging villa with all kinds of modern conveniences. We will go more in depth when we're inside. When inside we found our first traces of the refurbishment of the 1900s. This was this marble control panel. In the early 1900s, electricity was still incredibly new and was mostly reserved for the elites. Stories even say that this villa was one of the first electrified villas of the hill. This equipment could still be found all through the structure. Around the corner we entered the former main lobby of the villa. This here was the first sight you see when you enter the villa. This room dates back to the original construction of the villa in the 1600s by the 1900s renovation. Unfortunately, it wasn't untouched by vandalism throughout the years. Before we headed upstairs, we first decided to check out the basement of the villa. In the basement, we discovered a bathtub in a near perfect light situation. The following room also contained the remains of a kitchen. The kitchen also dates back to the renovation of the early 1900s. Such a kitchen and the availability of electricity was truly something else in the early 1900s. The villa was known for being one of the most modern structures in the whole city and gave the local residents a peek into what was the future. The renovation by the British businessman did not only contain modern technology, it also contained architecture. For this we have to head upstairs to the first floor. A grand staircase leads to an even grander main hallway. This incredibly ornate hall was one of the main additions of the 1900s renovation. And still, even to this day, the hallway is really impressive to see. But this isn't even the highlight. The crown jewel of this villa can be found through this ornate door frame. This is the main living room of the villa. The living room was 6 meters high in total and contained a stunning round skylight to let in natural light. On the walls an array of statues could be found. Above the statues a stunning mural was painted, picturing a garden-like setting. My theory is that this room was replicating an indoor garden. Back in the day, the room was filled with all kinds of artifacts, including a massive chandelier. Those times are long gone though. So what really happened here? And how did this downfall start of this once prestigious villa? For this we have to start at the death of the British businessman in the late 1920s. He died in the villa at the age of 73. After this, his beloved villa changed owners a couple of times. In the 80s a British actress moved into the villa. The new owner decided to write a book here. After this, the villa was finally abandoned. The reason why she eventually abandoned it isn't exactly clear. Nowadays the villa had suffered for over 40 years of disrepair and is decaying rapidly. The villa's future is uncertain. What is certain is that if nothing is done to the villa will be lost forever. Do you want to see early previews on what's coming next to the channel? If that's the case, follow the official Instagram page or Facebook page of Forgotten Buildings. Check it out at Forgotten Buildings.